Joseph, can your analysis be used or contribute to situations such as negotiating, hiring, and firing? And does it change the outcome in some cases?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, the range of skills I bring to the table are very handy, very useful, very effective in terms of negotiating. Because again, it it never fails to surprise me how many people become really tense and anxious around negotiation. And even people who've been doing it for many years, even very successful business people, can be very anxious around negotiation, and they can get locked down mentally, as it were, locked down in the detail, and they're not reading what's happening across the room, whether that's a physical or virtual room. And it can very much cloud their judgment. Their anxiety gets in the way of clarity, and they can miss so many opportunities. So I'm helping them prepare. That's the first thing, and I'm doing a like a trial run. So I'm being their counterpart. I'm being a devil's advocate with them, and I'm being as awkward as I can possibly be in a recorded negotiation, so that they see how they're likely to come across under pressure. So that's the first thing. That's an education for them, but it also gives me insight into their behavior. Then I will profile their upcoming counterparts. I'll get video or facial photos of their counterparts, so I will get insights into how they're likely to be, the personality, the behavior style, etc. And then I can be in the room in real time, so I'm reading what's happening. And then when there's something going amiss, I'd be recommending, okay, let's take it, let's have coffee here or whatever. I'll have some pre-planned interjection that tells people, okay, we're off track here. So I'm helping them read how people are behaving and what people aren't putting on the table in a negotiation. So absolutely, I can bring a lot to the table.
Now, in a lot of cases, when like people are trying to hire somebody specifically around this type of position that you're trying to hire for, where skill scarcity is evident and is there. Example: if you're trying to hire a specific data scientist in a specific field in a specific geographical area, you don't have too many candidates to pick from. You probably have one candidate and that's it. How much balancing act do you think the company should do between the skills and the credential and the education, etc., and the background of the individual that's trying to hire versus the traits that you're diagnosing for?
Yeah, in a scarcity situation like that, where you're looking for something very, very specific, I'm probably not going to be of huge value. That's down to the company research and how thoroughly they're capable of research, and how thoroughly they're willing to research. And I have come across cases where companies are not, because there is that scarcity, the companies are not willing to really look too much into the character, and some companies have encountered problems because of that. But I'm not typically really involved so much directly in those kind of scenarios.
Because scarcity dictates it pretty much, right? You don't have many options.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, how does the traits and the characteristics that you're diagnosing for changes the dynamics when it comes to things like job offers, negotiations, dynamics, if you will, in a let's say you got to a short list process with 2 or 3 candidates. Do you leverage that from an HR perspective or from a candidate perspective? How do you advise on that?
Yes, typically, I suppose there are a number of aspects to that. I do need to know about the company culture. I don't need to know so much about the technicalities of the role. I do need to know about the company culture. I do need to know about the team that the successful candidate is likely to be working with. I do need to know about the vision for the future, or at least the next 6 to 12 months. What will indicate success and failure, like very basic stuff, and that gives me some, I would say, essential preparation in terms of how I approach the interview process, and how I can then differentiate between candidates.